Think of the many forms of technology you use on an everyday basis. You may be thinking of the car you drive to work, or the television you watch at home, or even a life support system used to keep a family member alive long enough to complete a very intricate surgery. Many of these are powered by fossil fuels and could be gone in our lifetime. Isn't that a scary thought? Throughout this speech, you will gain the knowledge that will help you understand the looming need for the development of alternative forms of energy and how it could in fact save humanity as we know it. In order to extend humanity's lifespan and the lifespan of our energy products, humans must turn to alternative forms of energy to develop more efficient and cheaper forms. Doing this will allow for most of the world to convert to these energy forms, allowing for us to have a never-ending resource and protect the planet as we know it. The credibility of my source is I took an extensive course my freshman year at Central Michigan University about environmental geography, and I also look at many articles about these forms of energy. Today we will be talking about the alternative forms of energy, how they will replace the depleting fossil fuels, and how alternative forms of energy will help reduce the pollution and global warming our planet faces at its current stage, and how people can get involved and make a change to alternative forms of energy. Alternative energy is energy such as solar, wind, or nuclear energy that can replace or supplement traditional fossil fuel sources as coal, oil, and natural gas. Using alternative forms of energy will result in unlimited energy production that is virtually inexhaustible. This will allow for cheaper energy costs due to the majority of the energy coming from naturally reoccurring means rather than that of fossil fuels. According to electricity.co.uk, the majority of our fossil fuel reserves will be depleted by 2088. One of the major sources of energy in the world is fossil fuels, and more importantly, coal. Without this resource, many of our technologies that require electricity will not work, leaving humanity in the dark. In 2015, the United States used fossil fuels for approximately 81% of energy, according to needtoknow.nas.edu. This shows that the majority of energy that is used in the United States comes from fossil fuels. When this stat is combined with the fact that these resources will be exhausted by 2088, it puts things into perspective. In our lifetime, we will run out of gas, oil, and coal. It is up to us to realize this and to start researching to alternative methods of capturing energy. It is better to start producing these technologies now in order to fully convert by that year. This will help ensure humanity has the energy to survive. Alternative energy will not only help replace fossil fuels, but it will also decrease the economic burden of energy costs. According to the ucusa.org, the cost of solar energy has dropped almost 60% since 2011, and the cost of wind power has dropped almost 80% since 1980. This shows that with more research and development, the cost can continue to decrease, saving more money for the public. Renewable energy costs quite a bit to build, but once built, they require very little money to continue to operate, meaning the energy we receive will be at almost no cost, saving the entire world money. Now that you have an understanding the need of alternative energy forms, let's look at the environmental benefits. Alternative energy forms give off little to no global emissions. Our actions have overloaded our atmosphere with carbon dioxide and other gases, resulting in heat to be trapped in between the atmosphere and Earth. These effects could soon be permanent, resulting in many coastal cities to be completely wiped from the map. According to EPA.gov, 29% of 2015 greenhouse gas emissions were due to electricity production, 21% were due to industry, 12% were due to running commercial and residential buildings. This shows that nearly 62% of greenhouse gas emissions were due to burning coal to produce energy in some shape or form. By using alternative forms of energy, we will be gaining energy using naturally reoccurring processes, meaning that all of the emissions connected to fossil fuels will be erased. According to climate.nasa.gov, there's a better than 95% probability that human-produced greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide have caused much of the observed increase in Earth's temperature over the past 50 years. This means that we are knowingly creating climate change in our world. This could drastically affect agriculture and many businesses in many areas, and in fact could lead to unlivable conditions in some areas. If we decrease our reliability on greenhouse gases, we can make it so that our temperature can remain stable and save it from becoming a permanent effect. By now, many of you realize how important the investment of alternative energy is and are wondering what we can do to help encourage this change. In the end, it is up to us to make this change, and it will not happen if we as people come together to influence the change. There are many ways we can do this, one of which is participating in utility programs where all proceeds go towards the purchase of renewable energy. Another thing we can do is tell our elected leaders that we want to see environmental change. Let them know that green energy is important and that you want to see the change in not only your community but the rest of the world. Finally, communicate this with your friends and family. Let them know how much a problem this is and how, if we all come together, we can make this change. So today we talked about how alternative forms of energy will replace the depleting fossil fuels. Secondly, we talked about how alternative forms of energy will help reduce the pollution and global warming of our planet faces at its current stage. And lastly, I explained how people can get involved and make a change to alternative forms of energy. Ultimately, the future of our world is in our hands. Do we want to continue living the lives that we have and help ensure that future generations are awarded the same life? If so, we need to make a change now. If not, our nation and our race may cease to exist.